three major cities will face the ruin in different ways. One will be destroyed by the waters, another will remain so submerged that only the tower will be visible of a church, and the third city will completely sink white doves they fly, and then a dust rains down yellow on a line when the golden city is destroyed begins as a yellow line reaches the city. And when it falls, everything will be dead, no tree, no bush, no flock, no grass, everything turns dry and black. The houses remain the sea, existing extremely turbulent, produces waves as high as houses, and the ocean seems to be boiling in the depths of the islands. Disappear, the climate changes drastically, and a significant part of the proud island sinks. When the object thrown by the pilot reaches the sea, there will be large birds with eggs off. Death without names, everywhere houses collapse on themselves. Gasoline, only the oil is absorbed from the earth, so that it remains dry and cracked inside. I see many earthquakes. He will establish entire governments. I am happy that the Lord God let me die now. Not I need to see more of what Alois predicts from Germany, who lived during World War II. He did impressive predictions about what could happen in the future, is one of the few modern prophets whose authenticity can be verified by historical documents. Thanks to the work of the journalist Herbert Frank, who made friends with Irlmaier, we have access to the transcripts of his visions. He was known as the seer of Bavaria, Alois Irlmaier, in Germany, IN 1894, and died in 1959. He worked as a well builder and gained fame as a dowser and clairvoyant. For those who do not know, a radiesthetist is someone capable of detect certain energies. In the case of Irlmaier, could perceive the flows of groundwater. Using a metal or a rod, being frequently hired for the construction of artesian wells. In 1914, Irlmaier served as a soldier in the World War I and lived through trauma in tents. When a bomb exploded nearby, he was trapped in a shelter for 4 days without food or water, and was rescued almost lifeless during that period. Began to have visions about the future. After the war, he ended up trying to get his life back on track. Normally, he got married and had 4 children, one of them adoptive. In 1928 more, he had a vision of the Virgin Mary. Told the journalist Frank, who saw the figure emerge from a painting and smile at him, which intensified his paranormal abilities. When given asked about how I received these visions, explained to the reporter, I see images in the air, as if it were a film tape for pass, and in front of me showing scenes from the past, present or future. This happens mainly because of the morning, but also throughout the daytimes, without doing anything in the middle of the fog, or even before my eyes. Why this happens remains a mystery. For me, in 1938, went to a place and noticed that a new war was about to begin shortly after. World War II broke out. World Cup, and from there, his fame began to grow, was sought by the families of soldiers and other victims of the war seeking solace and information through their visions. People lined up in front of the house by Alois Irlmaier, bringing photos and objects, personal data of their relatives, with the hope to get some information over them. If he saw a shadow or an opaque silhouette, understood that that person was no longer among us during the intensity of the war. Also helped the local community protect themselves from bombings by predicting precisely what areas would be attacked. Even after the end of the conflicts, his reputation only grew, which upset some authorities religious. In 1947, he was brought to trial in court loud and accused of charlatanism. The case attracted attention when Alois Irlmaier was challenged by the judge to demonstrate his gifts. Then he stated that at that time, the judge's wife was at home, wearing a red dress and drinking coffee with a stranger. The judge sent a use to verify the veracity of the statement, and in fact, the wife was with an old friend of the judge, who had recently been released as prisoner of war, along with the many testimonies from people who they were helped by the judge, decided to acquit the accused of charlatanry. The absolution in the court only increased Alois's fame. Him as a medium, one of the most episodes intriguing of his career, involved his collaboration with the police. In a case specific insisted that a body was exhumed claiming to have seen in vision pill in the intestines of a black-haired woman has already died responsible for death when the body was actually unearthed. Traces of arsenic were found confirming your vision. The skills of Irlmaier in paranormal were considered exceptional, attracting the attention of many authorities and public figures, including German Chancellor Konrad Adenauer, and even a general. Now, let's explore the forecasts that made for current times. First predicted a period of uninterrupted prosperity. Precedents. After this phase of bonanza would come numerous crises, later anticipated the beginning of a third war world. During this conflict, cataclysms of proportions would occur, apocalyptic, and finally, a renaissance marked by an era of wonders. This text attributed to Alois Irlmaier, thrown into 1945 and released on the internet in 2022, contains several predictions about the future, many of which have been turned into remarkable realities. Over the years, we will analyze each one of them. Predicted an era of great prosperity, saying that as big as is the need now, so great will be the abundance in 20 years. The butter will spoil, the bread will be discarded as sausage. This indicates a period of great abundance and waste, reflecting the prosperity of the modern era. After the post-war recovery, mentioned that the rivers will be removed from their banks because his strength will be needed for a time, referring to the use of hydroelectric plants for the generation of energy. The forecast that the person she will become more and more proud, and you will want to receive all the glory of the Lord God. Then he will push stars. False to true refers to the increase of the human ego and to launching of artificial satellites, starting with Sputnik in 1957. Also mentioned religious leaders and humble rulers, possibly referring to Pope John Paul I, and one who will want to break all the order. That can be interpreted as a reference to Pope Francis and his reforms. Again, the shocking sight was that of a fence of iron will pass through Germany by half. Whoever arrives will die, which describes precisely the Berlin Wall, built in 1961. Finally observed that the roads are built and every apprentice has his car, predicting expansion of the road infrastructure and the popularization of automobiles. These prophecies accurate in several aspects. They show the extraordinary perception of more about social changes, technological and political, that shaped the 20th century and early 20th century. Alois Irlmaier associated the increase in earthquakes with the extraction of oil from the interior of the earth, observing that the gasoline, only the oil, is absorbed from the earth so that it remains dry and cracked inside. I see many earthquakes. This idea reflects the concern about the consequences, environmental impacts of intensive extraction of natural resources. Mentioned that the will establish entire governments, suggesting increasing corruption and malign influence on the governments of everyone, referring to the murder. John Kennedy said America will assassinate to their own presidents, highlighting tragic events in political history. American predicted the power will come for the blacks, who are in the dust for so long, predicting the Barack Obama's election in 2008. Significant historical moment in the United States on the 9/11 attacks of September. Predicted that I see the houses of the clouds collapsing on themselves, an image that vividly evokes the collapse of the Twin Towers. Alois Irlmaier affirmed that America will always deliver wars in the East and will never win again, reflecting the long and many, sometimes fruitless military engagements of the United States in the Middle East, as in Afghanistan and Iraq, that resulted in extensive destruction without reaching the desired political objectives. He said that the Russians will not stay sitting for a long time. The spirits are warming up, indicating that Russia could increase its political influence or military in the region. Finally predicted that after a brief battle, a great power falls and the Yellow Dragon invades America, reflecting concern for a military conflict between the States United and an Asian power, possibly China. If you have been intrigued by the surprising revelations and you want continue to explore these topics, fascinating, subscribe to our channel point taken right now. Click on the button subscribe just below and activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. Give it a like if you like the content and comment your opinions and doubts. I invite you to enjoy and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with others so they can benefit too. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts and experiences. Thank you for watching and joining us on this journey. We'll see you in the next video. Blessings.